A legal debate has emerged in Washington following recent comments by Vice President JD Vance regarding Federal Immigration Enforcement Authority. The discussion centers on statements Vance made about immigration and customs, enforcement operations, and the extent of legal protections available to federal agents. According to reports from multiple news outlets, someone who previously worked alongside Vance has publicly questioned the legal basis of these remarks. The Vice President's comments came during a public appearance where he addressed ongoing discussions about immigration enforcement policies. According to official transcripts, Vance suggested that ICE agents operate with what he described as absolute immunity when carrying out their duties under federal law. This characterization has prompted responses from legal experts, former colleagues, and policy analysts who study immigration law and federal enforcement authority. The concept of immunity for federal agents is not new in American law. Various forms of legal protection exist for government officials performing their duties, but the scope and limits of these protections have been subject to court interpretation and legislative oversight for decades. Public records show that a former associate of Vice President Vance has now spoken to media outlets about these statements. The individual, whose professional relationship with Vance dates back to earlier periods in his career, expressed uncertainty about whether the Vice President's characterization aligns with established legal principles. In quoted remarks to reporters, this person stated, "I don't know if JD knows the law," referring specifically to the immunity claims made about ICE operations. Legal scholars who have reviewed Vance's comments note that while federal agents do receive certain protections under the law, the term absolute immunity typically applies to a narrow set of circumstances. Court precedents indicate that immunity for law enforcement personnel is often qualified rather than absolute, meaning it can be subject to exceptions based on constitutional violations or actions taken outside the scope of official duties. The Vice President's office has not issued a detailed clarification of the immunity remarks as of the latest reports. Representatives for Vance have emphasized that his comments were made in the context of supporting federal law enforcement personnel who carry out immigration policy as directed by the administration. Immigration law experts from various research institutions have provided analysis suggesting that ICE agents, like other federal law enforcement officers, operate under legal frameworks that include both protections and accountability measures. According to statements from organizations that study federal law enforcement, agents are generally protected from personal liability when acting within their authority. But this protection is not unlimited.